Dude, if free balling was a show, it would be this episode. Joseph.
Warning. The following program is a gaggle of friends talking about happenings in the world. It is meant to be comedic, informative, and not really serious. The opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect the beliefs of their peers, their boss, or this broadcasting platform. There may be some cuss words, because that's how humans in the real world talk. If you are a young person, please seek permission before listening any further. Sincerely, the people of Two Tired Dads. P.S. Don't sue us.
The beginning of every fucking show, which is what a week or what a fucking week or something about the week.
Hey,
bro, it's been a week.
Shout out to all the salespeople that made it through the end of the month.
All the sales professionals, dude, give yourselves a cheer and clap. Like, get everyone across the board. Everyone across the board.
You earned it.
If you were doing the 75 hard, you pushed it through for the January. If you were sticking to your goal, you pushed it through the end of January. If you were having a mental breakdown carried over from the holidays and wanted to just be done by the end of January, it's the end of January.
We made it.
It's February
we made it.
1st. Oh, God.
Hey, back to the sales grind.
Back to the grind everywhere. I mean, springtime is right around the corner now, man.
Oh, shit, we got a glimpse of it today, didn't we?
65 degrees.
It was beautiful. They're trying to kill us, but it was beautiful.
I'm not mad about it. I'm mad like dressing like it's February, because normally it's February.
Facts.
Not 65 degrees and nice. Where
beautiful. This was a day that dads got to get out and do a little bit of that little yard work, pick up the trash, get the poop scoop out.
Dude, I almost said fuck it and like got some steaks at the store and have you over for the house. Like I was gonna, just do an outdoor cookout show.
That's actually a really good idea we should do sometime.
Oh, I'm saying, yeah, we almost did it. But
hey, I'm down, can't go wrong with steak.
Right.
Meat eaters around here, baby.
But man, other than like episode last week really like gave some feedback, especially like on the mail time, on the messages and things like that. And something that we got asked about was what our thoughts were on Texas. Stacey, I'm gonna let you open up on it. I mean, I don't know what they mean by what they think. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm starting to really think it's smoke and mirrors, man. The more me and you talk about it, the more you look at videos of, just one section, that you got to realize how big the border is in Texas, right? Like, huge. We're focused on one little bitty area where they're still cutting over in Arizona. They're still crossing over in other places. Like, what are they really trying to hide from us that they make this the big deal?
Well, I mean, history. I mean, we talk about history. When you look back in history, I mean, God, it goes back to Texas has been trying to be its own country for hundreds of years, long before our grandfathers walked the earth, man.
You got Russia trying to help them.
That's what I was saying. We got the Russian senators, Russian lawyers offering to help aid Texas in fucking succeeding. And so what I think is that's their counterpoint to U.S. being in Ukraine's ass all the time.
Yeah. And I think that's a really good, that is a really good, I didn't even think of that. That is a great viewpoint.
Right. And so it's like if Texas becomes its own country, Russia's going to be like, yo, what up? Let's talk, baby. Hey, Abbott, what up, baby? I got to, hey, don't get up. Don't stand up too quick. But it's like at the end of the day, where that's what's probably going to happen because, again, history. Look at Cuba right now. Cuba is like, hey, China. hey, Russia, let's hang out. And so Texas, I mean, yeah, the whole border situation is scary. It's been scary. It's been fucking stupid scary forever.
20 years plus that I can think of. We've had people coming over the border at least. That's, you know what I mean? I can
Right.
go my whole, fuck that, my whole lifetime,
Right.
35 years.
I
So,
get it. But I mean, it's like as some like my great grandfather crossed the border. You know what I mean? And so it's like I kind of look at it from all aspects and views. But it's like now the ways it's because I'm not trying to sound fucked up, but I was in the military. And do you know what happens to men like 17 to 29 who get caught at the border? You could go they get grouped in and they say, "All right, Jimmy, you can either go back to your country or you can go into tent and cage city, or have we got a program for you? And if you go with option number 3, Jimmy, you get automatic citizenship. We're going to pay you. We're going to feed you. Hey, Jimmy, what do you say, baby?" And next thing you know, fall back in the line of the base in San Diego, California, because that's where MCRD California or Marine Corps is. Why do you think a lot of boot camps are where they're at, bro? I mean, you got to think. It's been like
you
just
just
it's
blew
been
my mind.
planned. I'm just telling you. You got to think about it. Chicago's a sanctuary city. That's the Navy boot camp. Boom, daddy. You got
You're
to think
blowing
about.
my mind right now.
You got to think about it. Where's South Carolina? That's another sanctuary city.
When you're
Buford.
saying this, I'm thinking about how we've been at our lowest numbers in the military, and now all of a sudden we got an influx of,
Mhm.
military-aged men. What a
Mhm.
better way to beef up the military than
And they're more, I guarantee fucking to you, every single one of those migrant people are in a lot better shape than the average American from the age. If these people are swimming through shit, going through barbed wire,
walking through a jungle to
walking
get here.
through a jungle just to get here, they're going to be like, "Hey, man, we'll train you how to do it the right way."
Yeah,
And so, God,
that's a hell of a thought process when you think about it. That we're just gonna arm ourselves with other countries' people. I mean, who's to say that they don't gain our knowledge and then use it against us?
yeah, that's true.
That's a
Just
fear
like the
that,
Taliban. I mean, if you think
yeah,
about it,
Al Qaeda, Taliban, you aren't wrong.
when you look at the
Osama bin Laden.
pictures, when you look at the pictures of them holding the gun, they're holding with the finger straight and off the trigger, like
Yeah,
how we taught them before.
yeah,
They were not giving a fuck,
yeah.
and so it's just that type of thing.
I
But
mean, we educated them to a T, and look at how good they are now.
they're great. But yeah, I mean, we'll get back into that. I mean, honestly, it's a big thing, but Texas. But yeah, other than that, I mean,
Well, I want to
everyone,
go.
huh?
Well, I wanted to expand on that because something
We're
I've been
going to.
looking at with Cuba, right? Because you had brought
Yeah.
up Cuba. Um, when you go a little bit further south and you get into like Venezuela, right?
Hmm.
And you see all these Chinese military bases that are being built in Venezuela.
Hmm.
It's a lot harder to stop intercontinental ballistic missile if it's coming, from Venezuela than if it's coming from China. If you really think about it, there's a reason they've positioned themselves through the Latin countries, Latin America, South America, and they're positioning that, you know, if we get struck, who's to say that it's coming across the ocean from the west or the east? Who's to say it's not
Be in
coming
our
from
own
the south?
backyard, man.
Oh
Because they're
yeah,
already buying acreage and ass loads of acreage,
yeah.
like
They own
in near the Air Force Base, bro.
well, they own a shit ton of farmland alone. China
Mhm.
does,
Yeah,
So we're just we're in a world of array or a world of disarray, I guess would be the way to word it. And it's funny because my aunt Angie, she sent me this video about Civil War, right? Yeah, I think it's hilarious because it's the truth about how many people are really we're Americanized. We're majority lazy Americans, right? Uh, we don't even want to go out with our friends on a Friday night. We come up with an excuse on sitting on the couch. Like really, if we think about it,
yeah.
who's
I'm
got time?
tired.
Who's got time after working 8 to 5 every day to go join in a fucking civil war? I don't got time for that shit. Like, I don't know, maybe you do, but I sure the fuck don't. you know.
Oh no, I'm saying there's that Civil War movie on the A23 platform or whatever the fuck that's coming out, and it's scary. There's a preview out there already, and the thing is that what do you mean, Jared? Key factors are in the building
He's
crazy
talking
shit.
about in Venezuela where they're building up the cargo container ships. Hell, there was a
Okay.
point in time we were worried about the cargo ships sitting off the West Coast because who's to say that they weren't loaded with missiles? And they were out far enough that they were in international waters. They weren't in American maritime waters. So who's to say that they pop them cargo ships, drop open a couple, you know what I mean, missile silos, and boom, 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 and there goes 100 missiles in the air right there. We couldn't stop the missiles and the drone attacks over there in fucking our military bases in the Middle East. What makes you think we're going to be able to stop 1,000 missiles coming off the coast?
Oh, we're not going to. It's done. But what I want to say is there ain't going to be no fucking civil war. That whole down south of the Texas
Yeah,
border
that ain't
shit
happening.
is just a bunch of propaganda bullshit.
Hide the
And-
truth. Hide
right.
your kids. Hide your wife. Hide the truth.
It's
Right.
elections, and that's what I'm saying. Dads, as we've discussed, as I said it before, I have my entire fucking budget labeled for all this year. And why is because if we can get through 2024, 2025 on paper, a bunch of taxes are going to be cut. Everything's going to be dropped, whether who's in office or not. It's just the legislation that has everything outlined. Now, could people reverse that? I mean, yes, if certain people are in office, but as of right now, a lot of sanctions are about to get dropped off in 2025, bro. And so that's why I'm excited as fuck either way when you look at it from a money factor. Because what happens, I think that's when World War III is going to peak, is 2025, because that's when everything goes up during the war, man.
I mean, we've seen it. I mean, they make their biggest profits during wartime. I mean, we've seen it several times. I think the next closest time to that was COVID. Who's to say that they don't hit us with another COVID like bullshit and then all of a sudden World War III pops off and we're all locked in our house already?
Dude.
You know, like they've been preemptive striking this shit step by step for fucking decades. You know, and then you got shit like Project Bluebeam where, you know, you can project shit into the air that who's to say, you know, we walk outside and we see something in the sky and then oh my god, it's mass panic.
Mhm.
You know, it's America has really put us in a position where you can't trust shit. And it's crazy because even the truth you can't trust.
I wouldn't even be mad if we went on a lockdown again, because the last time we went on lockdown, I got in super cool shape and like I was ready to fucking throw down. And I think this time, if there was another lockdown, all my dreams of becoming this the fortress of solitude would literally fucking happen. I would literally fucking dump every penny that I had in making this whole plethora like steel, right? And then
Mm.
I would make everyone only live downstairs. And then I'm dead ass, dude.
I
I would,
believe you. I
right, yeah.
smiled because it's
I
not a
was
bad
saying,
idea.
right. And then I would bring the fucking cousin Nathan and I and you, we would all figure out how to make my kitchen down here in condensed before I kick everyone out. And then, yeah, Nathan's ass getting kicked out if we go on lockdown again. I don't want fucking nobody. Like, and so it's just gonna be us. Like Zach's getting kicked the fuck out if we go on lockdown again, because it's just gonna be me and Carrie in that room, and then this whole basement is just gonna be us. I mean, the boys are grandfathered in, but
Yeah,
they ain't
obviously.
right. But it's like I'll figure that out. But it's like,
I mean, y'all
I
got a
already
huge basement. I mean, they don't
cut out.
see it from what you're, you know, from the angle you're at.
They're not
But
supposed to.
no, I'm saying like it blew my mind when I was there, and I was like, damn, this is a big basement. I was like, holy shit. I was like, I thought you know, I need to get my
It
life
used to
together.
be cooler, bro. That whole area used to be a cage and a
I was gonna say you
fighting
had a
ring.
UFC gym in your basement. You
Yeah,
were telling
dude.
me.
And I had a fucking office where Nathan would fucking sleep. Nathan loved fucking sleep because it's dark. And that was my office. And I had a couch pull out bed and my TV and all that shit, my computer. And Nathan was like, bro, out of everywhere I slept, your office was the fucking best because it was cold and quiet. Like, oh, dude, it was dope.
Makes a
I,
huge difference.
I
Shout out to
soundproofed it.
dads that can't sleep without the fan on.
Well, I was saying I soundproofed the fuck out of that room because that's where my office was. But that's here
Mhm.
nor there. If we go on lockdown again, I welcome it, is what I'm saying, because we've all learned in
Well, I'm
some sort
welcoming
of
it too.
right. Every dad out there
Well,
knows if
shit.
we do it again, we know what to do now.
Well, let's call it what it is. We made more money doing what we do than we ever made in the business.
Everyone made money.
Yeah.
Everybody made money. And
So,
that's what I'm saying. That's where, 2025 is going to be crazy.
so what? Since you're saying, I just read the caption. What's going on in the world today? What do you think Joe Biden is going to do about the 3 soldiers killed in the drone attack?
Mm,
Everybody's kind of speculating. He's finally said that he is going to retaliate. I
mhm.
wonder, when do we really actually put lead and bombs? Let's call it what it is: bombs, missiles onto Iranian soil.
That's my heartstrings. You know what I mean? I don't think Biden has, and I am not the political guy. I am a strategy guy. So I'm the type of guy that sits on my throne and I just think, do I want these motherfuckers at my table? What do they bring to my table? And with the current president, I obviously have to invite him to my table, but it's kind of like, all right, guys, Joe's about to show up, so we know what we got. That's not the right guy to have at your table. It should be you sit at the table, and I'd be like, all right, listen the fuck up. You know what I mean? And then shit goes.
Yeah.
Joe, he ain't sitting at
Joe
my table, bro.
Joe is calling Donald Trump the president still. Joe don't
That's what
even
I'm
know what the
saying.
hell year it is, man.
I,
This
I,
guy is
and
so fucking lost.
Trumpy gets to sit there because the pro wrestling rule. You know, if
Yeah,
you're a pro wrestler, you automatically get to sit there. Not that I like Trumpy and his bullshit. I'm just
I
saying
do.
by pro wrestling standards and rules, Trumpy, I get to call him Trumpy. No one else does. He gets to, unless you're a brother or sister in the pro wrestling business, unlike fucking cousin Nathan. Well, I mean, he is, but it's like fucking. Anyway, what I'm saying is Trumpy gets to sit because Trumpy knows strategies. Joe
Businessmen
does
should be at
not,
the
bro.
table. I mean, Trump understands that money makes the world go round, right? Like, he understands that when you implement tariffs, when you implement sanctions, when you implement certain embargoes, that people have to give leeway. People have to move in the direction we want them to move, because guess what, buddy? If you don't, unfortunately, you won't be making money, and your rich oligarchs behind you are going to get a little upset, and they're going to start pushing you in the direction to work with us, not against us.
But I know we talk about the fucking, the Trumpies and the fucking Joes. We got to talk about someone I think I'm falling in love with. What's
Mm,
his name? I want to make sure he's the right guy. He's the one that got into it with Corey Bush. Do you know who I'm talking about? Jared, I wish you were here to pull it up.
Real quick, let's give a
Yeah.
segment over here, real quick. Mark Bradley, you want to tag that comment? That's actually a really
What is your advice for your dad to keep his 14-year-old kid off weed in school? Oh, boy, nephew. Whoa, hold on. We got to go into uncle mode. Stacy, one of our nephews need us. We got a nephew who got the weed in school, man. All right, Stacy,
that
go
has to,
ahead.
well, there's a lot that has to go into this, because as far as what is causing them to want to smoke, is this them wanting to be cool, or is it helping them focus, right? Because you got to look at the medicinal effects of marijuana and cannabis, right? And if it's something that, like ADHD medicine, they give, Adderall and Ritalin to people all the time to make them focus. So is it negatively affecting and impacting them in school? Now, I would assume off of the comment, I'm going to say yes, that I'm going to assume that it is negatively impacting them. If that's the case, I hate to say it, but your dad whooped their ass, and make it very clear that if you keep doing this, well, so okay, now I'm going to dial back. Because he just commented he has ADHD. if that's the case, and this is, again, I'm going to just say this, Mark, I don't know you personally. I will say that for some people, it does help them focus, right? At that point, you have to be the parent, obviously. You can't just here's drugs. But if, a doctor has written the prescription and it is not impacting them in a negative light, then as a parent, you would have to be torn, because if their grades go up, right, what do you say there? Because you don't ever want to stop them from being the best them. Now, obviously, you have to do this in moderation. You have to obviously explain to them, like, look, don't be dependent on this. But at the same point, when you're dealing with ADHD and they make them dependent on Ritalin and they make them dependent on, different things, it's kind of a hard thing. Now we're getting the answer there, Mark. I'm sorry to keep jumping, but he's getting in a lot of fights and trouble, stealing, etc. If that's the case, we got to put the foot down. There's no more friendly Joe, friendly Bob. It's straight up. Hey, what happens to thieves in foreign countries? They get their hands cut off, right? You have to explain the consequence of the actions. And honestly, sometimes it may be in the best interest. If you have a family friend that may be a police officer, or you have somebody who maybe be in some form of law enforcement, a scare tactic is a scare tactic, but the shit works. Go ahead, Devin. Go ahead.
I was saying, with going back, how do you? Let me just. I want to make. I don't want to fuck this up. What's your advice for dad to keep his 14-year-old kid off weed in school? Let's focus on what he's asking. Off weed in school. So if you don't want him doing the weed during the in school, that's easy. Now, I again, I am that uncle. So hear me out. I am not trying to tell you what or what not to do. I'm just telling you what I would do.
Okay.
You got gummies. Hey, during your lunch, you get one gummy. Don't be selling this shit. Don't be telling anyone else what's going on. 2, hey, you push through school. 3, you get some weed cough syrup. I mean, you can literally go get a doctor's note for your kid where he can get prescribed weed. And then once you get it into the cannabis forms, school will just put it in their little lockbox like they do with everything else. Because if he has ADHD, I would much rather do the marijuana than I would do the
Adderall.
pills
Yep.
of the ADHD, because Adderall is just one
Meth.
slight fucking pubic hair of meth. That's right. And so when I mean pubic hair, one little
You're right.
chromosome, yeah.
You're not
And
wrong.
so
It's one little atom
right. And
away.
so what I'm saying is there are ways around it from a different angle.
But the side part of that is then you got the second part of this, right? He's getting in a lot of fights and trouble, stealing, etc. Right? So this is where you have to get into, is he stealing to provide for a habit? And if that's the case, then that means he's buying it from the street. So we as a parent have to interfere there. And I really like your idea with the gummies actually there, Devin, because it puts you in a position where you're the one that's litigating how much
Controlling
he
it.
has. Exactly.
I mean,
Now, the stealing would obviously, if you're providing what is needed and it's medically approved and the school approves it, again, this is all, everything is approved, the stealing should subside. If not, then he's just a thief, and then you have to deal with the thief as you deal with the thief.
like I want to know deeper. Like, I got deeper questions. Like, he's 14 years old. Is he smoking the flower? Is he smoking the vape? I'm willing to bet it's the vape, because that's what a lot of kids think it's cool to be fucking, oh, my vape, man.
Well, really
Like,
quick, I want to go into the second part of that too, because the
yeah.
fights don't normally stem from marijuana.
No, those kids been getting bullied. I know
Yeah, like
for a
there's
fucking
something
fact.
going on
Like,
there that, like, as a dad, I think you should maybe have a deeper conversation, like you just said there, Devin. There's something going on that's a little deeper for fights to be occurring, because I've never seen a group of kids pass a joint around and then fight.
fuck no.
Now,
I want to be playing Madden.
as far exactly real shit. So,
Like,
but and this again, Mark, we don't know everything on the subject, but I think this involves a little bit of a deeper conversation with them on what's really going on. Right now, this is where you know, let's see here. Pardon me, I'm reading the caption
Yeah.
from somebody that responded. And it's funny because Matt Fisher actually just came behind this and said he was tired of getting bullied. And there you go. Thank you for putting that up there. But I think there's more to it. And as kids nowadays, they're so afraid to come to their parents. I mean, hell, I remember being in school and like shit going on, and I didn't want to go to my parents because I wasn't sure how the outcome would be. But a lot of it stems from bullying. And what we may define as, oh, that's character building. It's still bullying, right? Like, if that's their way of handling it, we've said it before on the show. Sometimes, the best way to make a change is not too many people been hit in the mouth.
Right.
I hope he's winning. I mean, I know that's just the dad side in me is like, if he is fighting, I hope he's winning. I hope he's not getting beat up. If that's what you're saying, he's getting beat up, that's a totally different scenario. But if he's the one that's defending himself, he's being put in a corner, he's being bullied, it sounds like it could be the beginning stages of anxiety and depression. So I mean, I would personally get into a deeper conversation with him, have a few different, conversations, and go from there to kind of develop where the path should go, because there's something underlying there that is being missed. And that's not
100%.
saying you're missing it, that's saying he may not be explaining it. And I know today we had an incident with little man at school, and everything is perceived different. For me, if a person goes to hit you and you go to hit them back, it is what it is. Now there is limits to that, obviously. You should never hit first. You shouldn't be the bully. And like me and little man had to have a conversation today. I'll be honest, he hit a little girl.
Oh no.
And
Well,
well,
shit happens. He's 3.
he's 5, and it
5. Okay.
was the thing was I had to ask, multiple times what happened. Well, when we were in front of the teachers, you're not saying that she tried to hit you. So for you to say that in the car, I don't believe you, because you should have said that in front of the teachers, because then it's a validated statement. They can explain to me what is occurring. Now, I come to find out with a little bit more digging and prying and asking more and more questions, I come to find out they're playing a game. Well, in this game, it involves hitting. Okay. Well, I told him and I explained it. If they want to play games where they want to hit, don't play the game, because you're the one getting in trouble.
Right.
You're bigger, you're stronger, you're faster. Don't play the game. You're leading yourself to failure. So it's one of those things that when you go to talk to your son, ask the follow up questions. What is making you want to smoke? Why do you feel you need to smoke? What is it benefiting you to smoke?
Where are you getting the smoke at
There
14?
you go. There
Like,
you go. Because I want to know who
I
the
want to
fuck is
know
selling to
too,
my
man.
14
Who
year
the
old.
hell
Like,
am I beating ass, baby?
but Mark, we can, if you want, we can get into like a private chat on this, after the show. So it's not a big thing. But I will say,
You
I,
know what we're gonna do?
go ahead.
We're gonna bring Mark on the show right
That's
fucking
good.
now after this fucking little segue, because kids don't do
Hey,
drugs.
Ryan, hey, really quick before we go too far, because this is actually getting a lot of feedback over here. And
Uh,
Ryan, that's right. Replace that curiosity. And I think that's a big thing. Right now, we're in a generation where weed is such a big focus, right? Like everybody wants it federally recognized as, not being a class 1 drug, or,
yeah.
so the curiosity peaks on what is it? Why does it try it? Like I didn't try that shit till I was 17, turning 18, right? So it's one of those things that I was against it because my parents were against it. They didn't want it in the house. And then you were talking to an avid weed smoker. You're talking to a person that just recently quit, and I didn't even realize that it benefited me to have that stop. And so you're talking to a person that smoked a quarter pound a week comfortably, if not more. So that curiosity, now I have more free time, I have more money, I can invest it into other things. And I think that, again, Ryan, you said it best: curve the curiosity. You know what I'm saying, at 14 years old, bowling league, it sounds like the stupidest thing in the world, but I
Martial
promise you,
arts.
martial arts is another good one,
If you're
because
getting a
that'll help with
bullying
bullying.
fight, yeah, you're gonna
That'll help
throw
with
hands,
bullying.
baby.
But I will say, for me, my dad's favorite anti-drug was bowling and shooting pool, because it required focus and control. And they're very, very slept on that when you're shooting, you're using a pool stick, right? And you're shooting
What?
pool, it requires an extreme amount of focus to control a bowling ball. It's a science behind it. These are little things that They're not super expensive. They get them active. They get them in social events because now they're dealing with other people, so they get to communicate with other people. And you'd be surprised how much of a difference anti-drugs are. You don't hear about them anymore, but those were two of my biggest anti-drugs, and they worked. But go. I apologize, Devin, again.
No, I was saying we're gonna bring Mark on the show, and as we tell folks not
This is a
to
clap for that caption if you want to click it.
we got another fucking sign him up for
This is to
boxing
that
therapy
Mark.
in St. Charles. Great, Mark, stand the fuck by. You're coming on the show, and so I'm glad that he went on far. But as I was saying, as we promote kids, stay away from the sex, drugs, and alcohol. Everybody else, here's a music video about sex, drugs, and alcohol.
Now think I'm going crazy, about to lose my mind. Moving forward, but it's like I'm stuck in rewind. Has everybody fucking lost their mind? Cause what I hear I'm hating, so I change the station on the radio. Cause everybody knows people like me don't make real music anymore. Now think I'm going crazy, about to lose my mind. Sit back and relax, watch my mind unwind. Music on MTV today, I hate to say, but it really ain't shit. Everyone's on YouTube now, trying to see how many hits you can get. Let me take you back to my day. VHS tapes and TV, two-head videos on all day. Living life like a CD, so I just press play. But that's okay, everything great, can't say the same, no way. Let's change all the bullshit on the radio wave. Let's hate on the mainstream, sit that place. So can I get a what? Can I get a middle finger up to the FCC? Who took music off TV? What can I say? Sway, Wick, Carson Daily. Now think I'm going crazy, about to lose my mind. Moving forward, but it's like I'm stuck in rewind. Has everybody fucking lost their mind? Cause what I hear I'm hating, so I change the station on the radio. Cause everybody knows people like me don't make real music anymore. Now think I'm going crazy, about to lose my mind. Sit back and relax, watch my mind unwind. Control freaks when I speak. PD Pablo speaking like a big pimp about JC. Now it's reality TV, driving me crazy. Finna phone music to save me. Cause every time I turn the radio on I get pissed off. Message behind real music gets crisscrossed. Tossed in the attic way back. Shit, that's real talk. It's a walk the walk. Life's a trip, baby. When you slip, pick yourself right back up. Music is what raised me. So cheers, get ready for my toast. To all the music I love the most. All the fucking times you heard me bumping.
Bro.
What, sir?
So as they're waiting to come back, and we'll circle back when we hear, but we sent out the invite. I gotta talk to you about this motherfucker. About someone that I'm not saying if I was gonna get into politics, I would follow, because I have no idea what the fuck he stands for. I have no idea his background. I have no idea anything about him other than his name is unique as shit. But apparently, Vivek
No,
Ramsey.
he's a goddamn.
Then educate me, because his troll game
He's a
is
goddamn
level
plant.
1,000, level 1. So he's a plant.
We
This
gotta
American
realize that,
entrepreneur is
man, give me a minute. I'm about to.
Please.
He was the.
Please, I need to know his troll game. His like I thought he was a pro wrestler background. The way he is on the mic is crazy. So
Man.
what am I missing about this fella?
He was, man, give me a minute. Was it ACI? Man, he was Vivek Ramaswamy. Man, give me a minute. He was the CEO of a pharmaceutical company that was part of the fucking COVID bullshit. Give me a minute. Man, I was just having this biotech. He was one of the biggest agenda pushers for the COVID jab. And then for him to turn around and take and, go the route he's going of, oh, I'm this, I'm that. He resigned as the CEO of biotech to run for president. You do realize that biotech was one of the mass producers and pushers of the jab.
Okay. We'll circle back to that. I didn't know.
Oh, he's a great troll though.
I just thought his troll, like, holy
level 10.
shit.
Level 10 troll for sure.
So we have to go back. We got a dad needing us, man. Let's bring him to the show. Ladies and gentlemen, fucking Irish Mark, all the way from Ireland. Hello. Mark, thank you for coming on the show.
You're welcome.
Your phone sounds a lot better than I have ever heard it before. When'd you get a new one?
I didn't. I just still have the same one. Apparently, this works better on here.
Holy shit, that's a that's a firm. Stacy, what? Go ahead, dig in, dig
Well, I
in.
mean, I was, as I said in the chat, I don't know if it shows our chats on Facebook, but I was saying I think it's a great start with the boxing lessons because it's going to teach self control and discipline and when to walk away and when not to walk away. But can I ask, what do you, is the dad, because you're the one current in life, what do you think is the reason that he is going that route, that he decides to smoke weed at such a young age?
Well, background story is he got bullied all through middle school, and then he went to high school, and the same kids came up through high or middle school, went into high school, and they just kept bullying him. But he got a new. There was more people, so he got more friends
Mm.
or more people to hang around with, and he just chose where he's like this or not. I think he chose the wrong people to hang around with, the wrong influences, and I think that they were a wee bit older than him, and they were doing weed and what have you, pens, $40 a pop in the bathrooms.
How
called it on
much?
the
How
pins.
much? How much of the weed?
The weed pens are like $40 a pop at school.
Oh, hey, we're not drug dealers, so I don't even
Oh,
know the
that
going
is.
rate of a vape
Oh
pen.
my
I have no clue.
god! There. I mean, I'm not saying that's a little high, but that is.
Well, I'm gonna say
Where
this
where are these
before
kids
you
getting
say
so,
some
so
shit,
they are?
Devin. You
No, I'm
should.
not trying to say shit. I'm just saying these. How old are these kids that are selling your kids these vape pens?
15, 14, 14, 15.
Well, have you had a conversation with him about leaders and followers?
Yeah, absolutely. I
Can
told
I
him
ask how that conversation went?
basically my conversation went is you can do it. It's legalized here now in Missouri when you're older, but not for right now.
Well, no,
You're
I
still
mean, as
your
far
brain's
as,
still developing. You're still growing up. You're still thinking. You've got a lot of growth to do, and I don't think it's.
well, I
I
mean,
don't
the
think you should
leaders
be
and
using it
followers
right now.
conversation. Like,
The leaders and the
yeah,
followers
how did you have the
conversation. Mark.
leaders and followers conversation with him?
Leaders and followers. Well, the
Have
conversation
you had
went.
that?
Hey, so you got caught with weed. So if a judge was saying you would make you do 20 to 40 hours community service, you're going to do 28. You bought a weed pen or you stole a weed pen from your mom's boyfriend, so I'm going to fine you $40 and you have to pay that back.
I'm gonna tell the truth. I'd beat the mom's boyfriend's ass because he should
Yeah, man. I
wait
mean,
for
I
my
would call
son.
it some accountability.
Well,
It's not
really
the
quick,
kid's fault.
I would definitely, he needs to make sure that if we know that this is something that he's using, right, keep it out of the area where he can get to it. Number one,
Everything's
that's
locked up.
is the mom.
Everything's
So
locked
that's where
up
the
now.
stealing comes in. Okay, so I again, my son's not that old. He's 5, but I have leader and follower conversations all the time, right? Because my son has a tendency to want to be part of the cool kids at 5 years old. Okay, leaders
Mark. Oh,
are
go
the
ahead.
ones who put followers in jail. Followers are the ones that go to jail for the leader. It's a real simple conversation of, do you want to end up in a position following somebody else who's not going to have your back? That leader, if he's a true leader, would step up, but majority of them are just following another leader and they just don't know who the leader of the group is. They're just following somebody on TV, right? Followers go to jail. And when you're in a situation where they're 14 and they're following the wrong group, like you said, he has the wrong group of friends,
Yeah.
it's I can't make you see it because I'm older than you and you think I'm dad and you think I don't know. Hey, there's a bunch of buildings all over this country full of followers. And you know what they do? They make license plate, they do laundry, they cook in the kitchen for other grown men. And that's a real statement. That's a building full of followers. And the few leaders that make it there are the ones that lead the cell block. And it's a hard conversation to have because obviously, we love our kids. We don't ever want to like put them in a position where that could happen to you. But at the same point, if you keep up following and you're trying to follow the Joneses and you're stealing from people, you're leading yourself down a path that you're going to be literally following another grown man. And you're not going to have another option because there's again a building's full of men that are followers.
I think
Eh,
my biggest problem is like he doesn't show any remorse or being sorry. He just is just like, I just want to get high
If
because
you
I don't
fucked him
feel it.
up,
I don't feel anything when I'm high. So
so that's depression.
yeah,
So I would say if that's the case, I would honestly seek a therapist. I go to a therapist. I
Counseling.
see him once a week. Therapist, counsel, whoever it may be. They're all different names for them, but not a psychiatrist because you don't want them to pump them full of drugs. But I
yeah,
think a therapist, like like it sounds crazy. I'll recommend the one I use. There's an app called Brightside. They don't even have to go in the building. They can literally just FaceTime. When I tell you, and you have the conversation, like, look, I'm not going to ask for your files. I'm not going to do anything. But again, Ryan, you're right. This is the age where rebellion starts. But I'm going to let you talk to somebody that is going to be a judgment free zone. But this is your place to let go of all of your anger, all of your frustration, because you need to have emotions. You need to have feelings. As men, we need to know how to control them and not show them, but you have to have them. And if you're running from them at 14, it's only going to get stronger drugs as we get older,
yeah.
because eventually we're going to go numb to weed. And what's the next thing that's going to make me numb? And there's too many statistics out here for young people of any age group, any demographic, that they fall into the next category and they end up a statistic on another chart, not a person in the jail, but a person in the ground, right? And it's a scary thought. And first off, I'm just gonna tell you, I believe in God. I'm gonna definitely pray for you because that's one that you have to seek a professional.
Well, I appreciate that, brother.
Yep.
And I
Mark,
say that.
we value you.
Well, hold on, let him,
Oh no,
because
I'm
I want
saying
to
go
say
ahead.
this.
Yeah, please.
Like seriously, take some time and find a professional because we don't understand what kids go through nowadays. Like we were just talking about it today at work. Like the girls nowadays are meaner than they've ever been. The boys out here are acting like little girls. Like
It's crazy.
they don't have a chance to even, and they're afraid to talk to us because we do have our opinions. We're parents. So we, of course, know what's right for our kids, or at least we feel we do, and it's one of those things that it sucks to say it. And my heart goes out to you because you're in a position where if we don't intervene now and we don't get ahead of the ball, it just goes worse. So this is one that I would definitely say that I would take some time. Therapy takes a few sessions to work through. You know what I mean? I would let him know that it's okay to be open and honest because that's a judge-free zone. And then on your end, have it set up to where you can work with a therapist for whatever you can do to benefit to help him get in the right direction. Because if he's trying to like suppress his feelings, he's hurting. Like that young man is hurting. And like it sucks to think that there's so many people like him right now in this world that like they want to escape. Like it's really gonna make me cry. Like they want to escape and it starts so young that like this isn't shit that kids should be dealing with. And it all starts from the kids around them. It starts from the people around them. And like we can love them as much as we can at home, but you can't control the world. And the world is hurting him and he doesn't know how to handle it. Now boxing will give him the physical strength and the ability to handle himself. But even then, you have to make sure he can control his emotions because if he doesn't and he can't let them out in the right way, he gets good at boxing, he can really hurt somebody. It only
Well, you
takes
see,
one
like
punch.
for me, it was just like when I was younger, I was fat, ginger, and glasses. All right, that's
Yeah.
three things that are not good combination for anybody to have in school.
Yeah.
Fat, ginger, and glasses. So I get bullied every day. So I understand where you come from with being the bully thing. But it wasn't until I put a guy through a second story window, the bullying stopped. Because I just thought, hey, just fight back, son. You'll be fine if you fight back. And that's what I told him, If somebody hits you, I'm all for it. I'll buy ice cream after every time you get suspended. We'll go to Chick-fil-A. We'll do whatever you want. You get bullied, I'm all for you. But now it's just like, it's almost like he's picking the fights and he knows he's going to lose.
So can I say
Like the
one
last
thing
fight
on
he
that?
had was with a kid 8 pounds heavier than him that was wearing a cast. He got the shit
Well, I'm
knocked
gonna
out of
say
him.
this. I got the most attention from my dad whenever I had a fight story, right? You don't want to encourage the violence because at that point, you reward it, and then it becomes what he knows, right? We're in a different era where, like, I don't know your age. I'm 35. I can say when we got in a fist fight at school, it was we called the parents. Now they're calling the cops. Last thing you want to do is lead them into a criminal record coming out of high school,
Yeah.
because it's a different world. Now, again, defend yourself is one thing. I'm not gonna sponsor anybody just go in there and beat the shit out of them, but this is where in my high school, you fought the biggest one and you beat them, and nobody fucked with you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I was the same. I
whereas,
was brought up the same. I'm 42, so I get it.
but for him, he's in a different age range, and this is where it gets hard, because our way of parenting nowadays, we have to care about everybody's emotions. Before,
Yeah.
nobody gave a fuck about our feelings, right? It was
Everybody's got
suck it
feelings
up,
now.
and it's a weird place to be. But the
Shit,
only person,
I even got feelings now.
yeah, hey, who are you telling? Like, this made me emotional. Like, I didn't have feelings before, but it's one of those things that when you're a dad, you have those feelings, and it's one of those things that you don't want to encourage violence. You do want to encourage to stand up for yourself. You do also want to, honestly, when you're really smart and quick-witted, embarrassment is a motherfucker, man. You teach your kid
I
how
don't
to
work
say
with
some
him.
quick shit.
I don't work with him. I tried. Believe me, I've tried.
And I'm not saying you haven't. I'm the only thing, and this is honestly where, if I was in your shoes, because I know that you care, or you wouldn't even made the statement. At this point, I would honestly seek a therapist. And my mom, this is a real statement. My mom went to the school building one time and told the principal, "My son will fuck up every one of these kids until the problem is solved. So either you can step in and finish the problem, or my son is going to fight everybody that he has to fight."
Yeah.
It is what it is. And if you want to suspend my kid for standing up for himself because he's sick of it, it is what it is. I went to school in a wheelchair one day, had a broken leg, and people showed up at my house trying to jump me because they felt I was at a weak point, right? Like, there's certain things that nowadays it wouldn't happen because all kids are weak. I don't care, like, what nobody says. In my opinion, like, there are very few kids that are tough, and I mean mentally tough, emotionally sound, and good with their hands. And it's one of those things that you want him to be emotionally sound, you want him to be physically tough, you want him to be good with his hands, but you want him to be in tune with himself to understand that, what am I jeopardizing with this movement? Me smoking this weed is putting me in a predicament, putting me around a group of people that have no good for me. They're not going to be friends with me past high school. You know,
Yeah, that's what I've told him that a lot. I was like, how many people do you know that are still friends with people that they knew in high school? Not that many.
well, then again, there's other people that I can honestly say I'm still friends with. You know, my three closest friends in high school, I'm still friends with them. And it's one of those things that we pushed each other to be great. If your friends don't push you to be better, are they really your friends? The best way to test it is if they ask you to do something. And this is a good advice I'll give you. Tell your son this. The next time they tell you to do something, you tell them to do it. If they won't do it, you shouldn't do it, because if they're afraid to do it, why do they want to put you out there to do it? And it's the easiest way to where you're not preaching at them, but you're letting them know, like, hey, this is a way to really test the waters.
Yeah.
If they say do this, why don't you tell them to do it? And don't even do it in a combative way, but like, I'll do it when you do it. And then when they see they
Sort of
don't
the
do it,
class clown scenario.
exactly. And it's
Yeah.
being the funny guy doesn't get you the rich guy. I wish I would have understood when my parents told me when I was younger, the funny kid doesn't get paid. He's not a stand-up comedian, right? There's very few, Dave Chappelle's, Ricky Gervais's. There's very few of them compared to who really does the business. But you know what there's a lot of is there's a lot of people making six figures doing IT. There's a lot of six-figure people doing cybersecurity.
See, that's the thing. Like at the start, like he was just like, go scroll back 2 years ago. He was like, I want to be a dermatologist, and now he just wants to drive a truck, picking up people's cars like a repo guy.
They make good money. It's not a bad job.
I know, but like you went from being a dermatologist to being a repo guy.
Well, let me ask you this. That goes with the tough guy mentality. If he thinks he's a tough guy, he thinks he can be a repo man, because most people that aren't tough want to be dermatologists. Most people that think they're tough would be a repo man. You couldn't pay me to go try and repo somebody's car. You go out here to the city and try and pick up one of these guys' cars. Guns come out, people drive the car off the back of the truck, people beat the shit out of you. And I think that's where you might have to give them a reality check. Do
Yeah.
you really think you're that tough? Like, it's a whole nother world. Like, again, we live in Wentzville. I pride myself in hoping my son is raised in Wentzville, and I hope he is soft. But a lot of people don't realize there are thoroughbred people out there that really hurt people, right? That it doesn't cross their mind that their jaw broke and they keep punching them, right? There are people that don't care about if they go home to their family. There are people that don't see futures because they can't see the future around where they're at. When you look around and you can see that dad goes to work, mom goes to work, we take care of home, we do what we got to do. Focus on that. Like, now dermatologist, I mean, that's a hell of a goal. Which one of his friends made fun of him for wanting to be a dermatologist?
Yeah. I never asked that question. That's a good question to ask.
I guarantee you'll get an answer that is going to blow your mind. The times that they changed their goals, what made them want to change it?
Yeah.
And I can say honestly, I used to want to be a doctor. What changed it for me was a teacher telling me that it was going to take me 10 years of school. And I realized at that point I didn't want to do 10 years more of a person like her. Now, granted, I wanted to go into business, and my mom kind of tore me up on that one because she made fun of the orientator at Wash U, but I'm still in business. I still do sales, so I would say again, you can't change his group of friends because he's going to be the one that picks them, right? You're not there with them at school. You're not the one that gets to hand pick them. But what you
Yeah.
do get to allow is who you allow in your house, who you let him go out with. You're still dad. And at the end of the day, no, you're not getting in the car with them. You're not going to go hang out with them. They're not allowed in my house. Who taught you this? Who told you that? Them who questions go a long distance on where did you get that?
Yeah.
Who gave you that information? And I think that that'll really lead you to the path of how we got to where we are as far as smoking, and who told you that smoking really helped you. Because does it help you, or are you saying that because of what you've been told? Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense.
So I just think that, again, this boils down to having a real conversation. And again, it's not preaching at them like Ryan said. That's a very good statement. You want to just have a general conversation like you're having with us. Like, where did you get this information? How did you come up with that?
Dude,
You're
for the last 2
14.
months, that's all we've had is conversations. But every time, it's just like lies. I
Yeah,
call them out on it every time. I'm like, that's just lies. That's bullshit.
but are you preaching at them, or are you talking with them? Because if you ask them, where did you, like, again, that simple question of who told you or who made fun of you for being a dermatologist,
Yeah.
that simple question may break him down.
Yeah, he's been broken down. He's
Damn, Devin.
Yeah, no, what I was saying is I get therapy, call it a day. But yeah, my nephew. So yeah, we'll talk about that. Other than that, great show so far, right?
Damn, Devin. Hey, hey, that was the most savage shit you've ever done.
Well, it's called fucking Two Tired Dads. So
You're right. You're not wrong. I will say
have the
the
fucking
only thing I want to elaborate on that is just for him, ask him who changed his mind. Who changed your mind, Devin? When you were growing up, who was the person that said something to you that you had this big goal or this big dream, and they said something to you that changed your view or changed your vision?
My goal was to fucking find my biological father and beat the fuck out of him. And I did right before I went to the Marine Corps. And as I was beating the fuck out of him, he said, "I'm sorry." And I said, "No, you're not." And then I fucking spit in his mouth.
Damn.
And then I fucking went in the Marine Corps. And when they
Hoorah.
asked me if I ever had any psychological issues, I said no. And
You didn't.
so,
That's just pent up aggression.
but yeah, man. So, I mean, I guess I was told I would never fucking find him because That was just a grudge that I held. And I also, my bully, we all know how that worked out. And then fucking
No
just
doubt, Mark.
everything as to where no one tells me that I can't do shit. Just like no one's going to tell my boys they can't do shit. No one's going to tell my wife she can't do shit. No one's going to tell no one's going to tell no one they can do shit because they fucking can't. Unless it's like illegal, you can't fucking do it.
That's, I mean, yeah.
Smoking weed, I'm not really gonna. I mean, there are ways around it, but if he's escaping reality, then yeah, I mean, you got to think about it. I'm not gonna spread laundry, but it's like just do a gut check. Think about put it from himself in his shoes, because for me, that's what triggered it around. Was, I mean, I didn't smoke weed, dead ass. I smoked it when I was a senior. And that to me was just like, I'm a senior, I'm sheltered. I got to get this check in the box out of the way. Like
Yeah, I
I
didn't
had
smoke
no
until literally I was 17 turning 18.
I had no idea that it was going to cost me like literally 6 fucking pages of documentation from my one time I smoked weed, because that's what I'd said and because that's the truth. But it's like that's what happened. And so it was just it was just, I guess it's just a culture thing. But buying that shit, stealing it from, I mean, honestly, stealing from your like mom's boyfriend, I can't really be mad because I stole from my grandpa drinking his beer. I stole from my grandpa to smoke his
I mean,
cigarette.
most kids all did when they drank. I was never a drinker, but
I
I
stole,
know plenty of kids that, they tell the stories of filling up their parents' liquor bottles, right?
right. I
Like,
did the same thing.
I will say that was never my thing. I mean, again, I didn't smoke until I was 17, 18, and I could supply my own habit. But for me, I mean, that's at 14. And this is me speaking on a personal level. I'm not speaking with anybody else. If my 14-year-old son was doing that shit, I'd beat his ass.
Oh, I
And
would I
like,
would want to ask more. I
oh, we would
would
talk, but
oh,
at the
there
end of
would
that
be no talk.
conversation,
It would be interrogation.
no,
It
we would
would
talk. I would make it sound like wasn't shit wrong.
it
I'd
would
sit
be have
down
a
and
seat and then the light on their face. You know what I mean? Like
black dark room.
that's what I would have to talk when that
So
shit happened. That's already gonna happen.
intimidating. You would
Right.
intimidate. So me, on the other hand, I would be so calm, like, hey man, talk to me, man. I'll even be the type to light the blunt. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna hand it to him. And the moment that blunt got handed, the right hand will come right behind it. Oh,
Dude,
who the fuck do you think I am? Like, you think I'm I'm your fucking dad. Like, who the fuck? Like,
you
again,
can't write that script.
like I'm just being 100. Like, I'm the cool. Like, when it comes down to interrogation, everybody does it different, right? You got the people who want to do like the gangster shit. Like,
Cool
you got the
dad.
lights. Me, I'm the one that's gonna sit down and I'm like I did today with my son. I asked questions like wasn't nothing wrong. At the end of that conversation, I was like, you fucked up, right? I caught you in every one of your little lies because I was being calm, cool, and collected. And Ryan said it best: don't preach. You gotta communicate. And I learned that trick from my mom because my mom would talk to me like I didn't do shit wrong, like she was my best friend. And then halfway through the conversation, she would ask a question that I knew I fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Like I knew at that moment, oh, she is mad. Oh fuck, she already got all the answers and I can't backtrack. Fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I gotta fucking share this interrogation story.
go ahead.
So my grandfather had this truck that I swore to I could have sworn he didn't know shit about the truck. He didn't know the mileage, he didn't know the gas tank, because truck never moved.
Mm,
And so I decided to take the truck out. I was 14.
mm.
And I decided to go for a little drive on the Highway 50. This is Gerald, Missouri. I mean, like,
You're in the
no,
country.
yeah. And seeing people behind a truck was normal all the time. I take it out when my grandpa went hunting, and he comes back. And when he pulled up in the driveway, he got out and he goes, Darren. I'm like, yeah. He's like, get in the garage. I'm like, oh shit. I'm in the garage, dude. And he made me stand attention. In the garage, he comes in, he goes, anything you want to tell me? And he has his apron on, his leather apron, and he has his
Oh
gloves on. He has
shit.
a shank. And I was like, anything. He looks intimidated as shit. He's like, anything you want to tell me that happened this weekend? I'm like, what? And he pulls out the deer. And he goes, "Did you do anything?" And he took some shit. He goes, "She cut the head off." He goes, "To betray my trust." And I was like, I
the shit a
moved the
brick.
truck, Grandpa. I apologize." And he's like, "What was the rule?" And it's like, and he's starting to harvest the deer. And he's going over the rules
Oh
and the
my God.
regulations of the grandpa. And that's when he's like, "Do we have an understanding?" And I was like, "Yes, sir."
I would have shit a brick. I ain't
Oh,
gonna lie. If he at 14, if he cut a fucking head off a deer, I would have shit my pants. I like what the fuck? Like
yeah.
how would have like again, like you said, you told on yourself, I'd have told him. So I would have shit a fucking brick. Like, oh my God. And he
Dude,
starts dressing the
I
deer.
can still hear the blade hit the because a butchering, it's basically a dressing table is a big butchering point.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And that was a one Swifty Swift. And I could still hear the ping ring through and
My fucking heart would have stopped. I might have passed the fuck out. To tell the truth, like being 100, I might have passed the fuck out.
and then he's bringing the chain while he's still laying down the wall.
He's
while
lifting it to bleed it. Oh my God!
Like while he's giving me this ass chewing and retelling me the rules, he's dressing the deer.
I would have had
I'm
a
just
fucking
standing there.
stroke.
I'm standing there the whole time, and it's like fucking 10 o'clock on a Sunday. But it's like he knew first thing when he pulled in that driveway that fucking piece of shit 1995 Sierra S1500, whatever the fuck he knew.
How did he know? Did he ever tell you?
I didn't question. I did, dude. Were you gonna question what looked
I wouldn't
like?
question him then. I'm saying I would have questioned him later.
I have
like, how
never.
did you know?
I have never.
Man, look. Hey, that is a skit. That should be turned. If somebody can turn that to a cartoon skit, that
He had because he's a bald man, and at the time he's wearing this leather fucking like golfer's hat. You know what I'm talking about? But it was leather, and it matched his fucking little.
Yeah,
it's like
leather apron that they used when they're butchering.
Yeah, it's like, dude, he had this in his deck of grandson fucked up. Which one should I use? Psycho Butcher. Very well. Like fucking anything.
I don't know how you didn't fucking pass out. Like, and that's me being real. Like, my grandfather had a giant snapping turtle in a metal trash can. Right, it was my grandpa Henry. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
And I remember playing, like not playing with it, but him letting the thing out on the front or on the drive. What are they called? The overhang, the drive up, the driveway, but not a garage, carport. And he lets it out. And he's talking, and he's just telling us about the thing, and he put a log in front of it, and it snapped it in half. And I don't even remember what he was talking to us about because my brain just went, like, as a kid, I was like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck?
Well, to show you my grandparents, because it goes deep. Because you're like, I know you already shit your pants, but I told you garage. I just wanted to. Here's my grandparents' house, right?
Mm-hmm.
And here's the garage.
Oh, it's a detached garage?
Oh, and Stacey J.
I thought he's going to kill me.
It's a double garage, and it has an attic upstairs, and it's insulated. It had electricity. And do you remember back in the day where you had to it was AT&T, had the push and talk?
Mm-hmm.
It was like, okay, we had a push and talk there. So this was like, it was like, his butchering block he barely parked. He never parked the cars in there. I'll just put it that way. But it was cleared out, clear as fuck, cleared out and neat.
I know.
But it was also his tool shed and everything.
Workspace.
And upstairs was like the Christmas. Dude, I'm telling you that, man.
Hey, Devin, I salute you for not passing out first and foremost. I swear to God, if I didn't shit my pants,
I haven't shared that story.
I would have cracked my head.
I'm pretty sure I am 100% sure I never told that story. Man, it's just like we're talking about interrogation. It's like, well, this is what happened to me.
I've seen deers get hoisted up on them chains where they crank it up or they lift it up and put it on. Man,
no, and he had the lights on, and then he also had the aluminum lights. They were like there was like I guess 6 inches around, like dome lights.
Okay,
but there was like 6 of them around, and I'm getting chilled. Anyway, thanks for tuning in because It's been an interesting episode 16, man. Hey,
Hey, we'll be more on point for next one. This one I like that we just kind of got to
we just
shoot
had
the
to
shit.
blow off Steve. I got you guys talked. Well, I got to do. I wasn't being salty. You guys were talking. Hey, I had my thing because that music video wasn't working long enough. So I was just like, boom. Listen.
Well, I will say, Mark, prayers for your family, prayers for your son, sir. Like that is a serious situation that, again, I can't tell you to get therapy, but the first place I would be seeking is professional help because depression, again, if he's starting with weed at 14, I didn't start till 18, and we've seen the downward spiral. We've seen, what that Finney shit does to people.
The gateway.
We've seen not saying it's a gateway drug in any way, shape, or form because I'm not going to sponsor that, but I will say when it numbs him to where it doesn't numb him anymore, he's going to find something to numb him better, and you don't want him to numb himself to where he doesn't come back to you. So if you know what I mean, Devin, I think that's a phone call that Uncle Devin need to step in on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, we'll talk in there because everyone else is gonna like us on the Spreaker. And
if you like this video, or a creeper will come at your house and blow up.
Yeah, so also I appreciate everyone coming out. What a
Hey, follow us.
Follow us, do it or else.
Hashtag 2 Tired Dads on Facebook.
Are we
YouTube.
ever gonna talk about the Kennedy bullshit? Man?
Oh shit, man. Hey, definitely put that on the list now.
I mean, we got a guy that I would love to bring in. He's like, that's all he talks about.
I'm down.
And he's like, we'll talk about it offline.
Hey, but I'm all about it.
Jimmy, drop the beat. We're out.